Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Convos with Anita Santiago podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, and review the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Follow the podcast on social media. Have social media pages on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And also be sure to pop over to the website. That's lifeconvos.com, and you can check out all the latest news, updates, and great podcast gear that's available. So, today's episode, we're going to continue our discussion about digital spaces. In the last episode, I suggested that digital detox might be something that we can incorporate into our daily lives. And that's because we're all connected all the time. We have devices, we have phones, tablets, computers, gaming devices. We get a lot of screen time in our days, and so the last episode was talking about digital detox and the digital space. Today, I kind of want to expand on that a little bit further because I find that when I have discussions with people regarding social media specifically, that there's a sense of not being able to leverage tools in the digital space to our advantage. So I kind of want to talk about that today on how you can improve your digital experience and really configure your social media to help you achieve whatever goals that you have for yourself. Now, I am fighting a cold, and I know it sounds a little bit funny, but I didn't want to miss an episode, so here we are. So let's just talk about the digital space. So we have apps that we use. For example, your standard Microsoft products. We have apps that we use on our phone, and we have new tools that have just come out, such as artificial intelligence. And so we're bombarded with a lot of different options that we can use to further our goals. So let me create a scenario for you. Let's say that you are actively in a job search. How can you use digital tools to help you in a job search? Well, there are some sites like LinkedIn. A lot of people have a LinkedIn profile, but they're not very proficient in using LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is just one example of a social media platform that you can leverage to your advantage. So if you're job searching, you can beef up your LinkedIn profile. You can add a lot of things to your profile. For example, video resumes are a big thing that's in right now. You can put a video resume on your LinkedIn profile if that was something that you felt could help set you apart from all the other people that are competing for jobs. You can do a lot of extensive networking on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has groups that you can find based on your interest. So if you were in a particular industry, let's say finance or nursing or administration, you can find groups on LinkedIn that you can connect with others in that industry. You can find out more about big employers in that industry. You can get a lot of information from the LinkedIn website if you know how to use it well. I find that most people have a profile and they go, yeah, I got a profile, but I haven't been over there in 10 years. But you're seeking opportunities and maybe new spaces. And it's not always easy for us to get in front of the people who can open doors for us. And LinkedIn is just one example of a tool that you could use if you were doing a job search. Other apps and tools that you can use. I'm new to TikTok. And I really like TikTok because it's very different. Don't know what's going to happen with the proposed ban that is going on right now in the United States, but I think TikTok can be a very useful tool if you know how to use it. TikTok has billions, literally billions of videos, and you can get stuck on TikTok scrolling through billions and millions of videos. But did you know that you can follow hashtags and you can create a feed that's going to be more in line with the type of content that you're looking for by just following hashtags? So, for example, if you were looking to relocate, I talked about this in a previous episodes, Americans moving abroad. If you were thinking of relocating out of the United States and you wanted to know what people thought about a particular country, Italy, Germany, France, Ghana, Panama, then you can actually find hashtags that are specific to people moving abroad, what the issues are. You can look by specific countries. And so what that does on TikTok, a space that literally has millions and billions of videos, it starts to isolate the content that you're looking for, the content that's specific to what you want to see. And then the algorithm uses that information to continue to give you content that's relevant. So instead of always getting bombarded with a lot of different videos covering a lot of different topics, you can use hashtags and searches to kind of narrow the content that you're exposed to. And that could be very helpful because I hear many people say social media is overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed. It's too much. Well, just know that you have the ability to define and construct the type of content that you're looking for within that particular app. You can do this with Instagram as well. Instagram focuses on pictures and video, and literally the reels on Instagram, a reel is a very short video, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. There are tons and tons of reels on Instagram. Some big content creators, they're publishing reels daily, multiple reels daily. So when you click your phone and you tap the Instagram app, you can literally, again, just like TikTok, get stuck in the rabbit hole, looking at a bunch of content. Maybe you went on to find a specific thing, and now it's an hour later and you forgot why you clicked on the app. Again, you can use hashtags and searches within Instagram to narrow the content that you're seeing. You could do this on YouTube as well. As a matter of fact, YouTube's algorithm, from my understanding, and I'm not the most tech person, so if I get it wrong, just don't yell at me. But on YouTube, you can do the same thing. You can follow hashtags, you can follow tags, you can follow hashtags, and you can narrow the content that you're seeing. Now, from what I understand, YouTube's algorithm is very sensitive to what you actually watch. So if you're looking for videos on job searching and you're watching videos on job searching, eventually you're going to notice on YouTube that that's the content that comes up as suggested for you. So it can go from being very random to being very specific. So again, with all of these digital platforms and spaces, you have a lot of ability to control, influence, um, define the type of content that is coming at you, which could totally change your experience. I don't think people think of social media necessarily as an opportunity for networking. I know that for us, that's what it was. You didn't have so much entertainment when the big platforms first started, when Instagram first started, when Facebook first started, even YouTube. They were just more for information sharing and networking. And for me, the big one was LinkedIn. Everybody was on LinkedIn. If you were looking for a job, you wanted to be seen in your field, LinkedIn was where you went. So when you're thinking about the goals that you have for yourself or things that are on the immediate horizon, a job search, a relocation, maybe information regarding a health condition, resources for your children. You now have the ability to go into some of these digital spaces and say, okay, I want to have a different experience. So this is the approach that I'm going to take. Speaking of resources for children, especially with YouTube, like they have YouTube Kids that is more limited, where kids are not able to access everything that's out there on the internet. A lot of us get cell phones for our kids, have devices for our kids, because why? There's a lot of stuff happening in the world. And so you want your child to be able to get help or, talk to someone if they need to. But it also gives them a lot of access to spaces. So you look at Snapchat and some of the other, there used to be an app a long time ago called Kicks that was real popular with the kids, and that was several years ago. But you can do this same concept with restricting data and creating the type of content that's more meaningful for your kids. A lot of the apps have controls and settings that allow you to limit screen time, limit access to content, and those types of things. So, for parents or caregivers that are concerned about the digital spaces that your young people are in, just remember that there are a lot of tools within these spaces, these apps, these websites that can be used to make sure that the content is what you would want it to be, because it's relative and it's subjective. And so I feel like a lot of people may not know that outside of just restricting screen time on phones and devices, that you can actually go into settings within apps and do that and achieve that same goal. So those are some ideas for, creating an environment that's not so chaotic for young people. And also with the digital spaces, and I know we hear a lot about cyberbullying and some of the other things, being able to better, I don't want to use the word control, but being able to better define the content that your young people are seeing may be helpful, because there's a lot of stuff that's negative out there. And maybe you want to use those digital spaces to help your young person explore careers or explore topics in school and things of that nature. Again, you can use settings within the apps, hashtags, and other ways to ensure that content is what you want it to be. And when it comes to kids, like, there are so many resources out here on the internet. It's just staggering, the amount of content dedicated to school age children or high schoolers, even college students. There is just tons and tons of information out there. So if you're in school and you're having difficulty with a subject, even if you're in college, you can use these digital spaces to help you better understand concepts, to get a different perspective about a concept, so that it may be helpful to you while you're studying that particular subject or that particular topic. For example, a lot of you guys know I'm in a doctorate program studying clinical psychology, and it was a career change for me. So I didn't know anybody in mental health when I decided I was going to study mental health. So I had to build a network from scratch. And the first place I went to was LinkedIn. And I changed my profile to be more reflective of where I was going, not necessarily my current situation. And I used my profile to meet people all across the country that were working in mental health in areas that I was interested in, traumatic brain injury and some of those other really interesting sections of mental health. So I reached out to people. I sent messages through the LinkedIn app, and I was like, hey, I want to know more about what you do. Is there possibly a time we can talk on Zoom? And that was very helpful for me rebuilding my network, rebuilding a new network based on the new career that I'm embarking on. I also used apps and to find events that I thought would be helpful, where I could go and meet people that are in mental health, that are doing therapy. So Facebook and LinkedIn were my two top spaces that I went to look for events, locally and non-locally, conferences that I might be able to sign up for as a student. And again, with the goal of networking and meeting people. And I'm just kind of drawing a picture of what using these digital spaces in a very proactive way can look like. So as I've embarked on this journey of career change, I have utilized the platforms to meet people, to find events, and to strengthen my understanding of the field. Now let's talk about school. So some concepts in school, I'm good at it, some not so much. So YouTube University, that's what I call it, was very helpful in courses that I had where I was having trouble understanding a particular concept. So often there would be videos about that concept, let's say personality psychology, all different perspectives of what that is, what it looks like, and how those professionals utilize that concept in their work. How does personality psychology translate into clinical work? So while it wasn't that I was getting exactly the same content that was in my class, I got perspectives and information that kind of expanded my understanding and helped me to better understand the concept that was giving me trouble. So again, I'm just trying to paint a picture for you of what it can look like when you're very proactive in digital spaces. For the entrepreneurs out there, digital spaces can be so amazing, not just for advertising your business, but for networking and collaboration. That is something that micropreneurs, and those are our entrepreneurs that are one-person shops, micropreneurs can take advantage of digital spaces and tools like AI to really enhance or improve what you're doing in business. What does that look like? Well, let's say that you have a small business and you're I don't know, consultant. You do business consulting. You might take a tool like AI to help develop your the packages that you offer for consulting. You might use AI to develop the policies and the procedures for your business, for your office, for your staff. You may use AI to help you develop your marketing tools, to help you develop the kind of flyers or brochures that are going to not only be helpful to getting the word out about your business, but also going to be helpful in giving you a presence in the digital space. So I think, like my perspective, this is just my perspective. I think when most people, entrepreneurs, think social media, they think, I got to get the word out about my business. I got to talk about my business. Yes, that's true. But that's not the only thing that you can use social media for. You can use social media to tell your story. You can use social media to reach clients that you may not have reached in another way. But you have to be proactive, meaning that you have to have a strategy. You have to know what it is you're trying to accomplish so you'll know what platform works best for you. And from there, you can leverage the information that's on that platform towards your strategic business goals. That to me is a way that an entrepreneur can maximize experiences in the digital spaces. You can also see who your competitors are in your area, who are the big people in the industry that you're in. What are they doing that's successful? Maybe even collaborate and partner. If you're just getting started out and you know that there are other companies that are more established in the field, reach out and collaborate. That's a great way to be proactive. So again, what our experience is in digital spaces is really up to us. And we have to have a sense of what works for us, what we're doing, and what goals we're trying to accomplish. And I think when people get frustrated in digital spaces, it's because there's no plan. I'm just kind of here and I see the same negative stuff and it gets on my nerves. So I don't want to see that. Well, you have the power to control what you're seeing to a certain extent. You have the power to restrict, even in your feeds on Facebook. You can restrict how much you see from individuals. So if there's an individual in your timeline that maybe is going through something and they have a lot of negative things to say, and you just don't want to see that every day, you can mute them for 30 days. You can see less of their posts within your feed. That's a setting you can choose. So you have a lot of options. And I just think that, maybe we've never really considered, well, if I'm out here in this digital space, why am I here and what am I doing? Purposeful effort is a phrase that comes to mind. And I say that because not a lot of times, but sometimes we approach things without a purpose. And a lack of purpose makes it hard to put the effort in to achieve a goal. So, kind of understand what you're doing in your digital spaces. If your digital space is personal and just for keeping up with family and, the family reunion and stuff, that's fine. If you're using your digital spaces for your business, that's fine. If you're using your digital spaces to enhance what your children are doing in school, that's fine. You just have to figure out what the purpose is. You have to ask yourself, why am I in this space? What am I trying to achieve? And what do I need to do to achieve it? Pretty simple in my book, but and and we can. It's pretty simple, but it's understanding. It's understanding what the tools are and how to use them. There's a lot of noise around artificial intelligence right now, mostly from the perspective of schools. We don't want students using artificial intelligence for papers and homework and assignments. But the scenarios I gave of being an entrepreneur and using AI to create your HR policies, your customer service policies, your refund policies. If you're a micropreneur and you're all by yourself, and you might not be at a point where you can hire a consultant to help you with that, that could be very huge for you. Because when you go to apply for grants or loans, you may need to have all of that information ready to go. And AI is not infallible. I mean, it'll give you some information and then you have to go in and edit it and clean it up. But there are a lot of ways we can utilize AI in a very thoughtful, productive way. It doesn't have to be something that we fight against. It could be something that's very helpful. I've even seen where AI is used. Some people are using it to study for exams. Create a study plan. So for students, especially if you're in very technical fields, creating a study plan for a course or for a big major exam or a comprehensive exam that you have to take to exit your program. That's another way that AI can be used in a very thoughtful and productive way. And again, it comes back to purpose. What is the purpose behind us being in a particular space? What is my end goal? You don't have to have one. I mean, it could just be simply, I want to be on social media. I like seeing what's going on with people. Okay, then that's your purpose for being there. And you can still take advantage of tools to create the type of content that you want to see or define the kind of content that you want to see. And you can also use tools and settings to make that experience a more positive one if you're not having that. The last thing I want to say about the digital space, in addition to using the tools and the settings to define your content, watch who you follow. I talk about this in other episodes, but if you are, let's say, a foster parent and you're looking for tips, strategies, and support from other foster parents, follow organizations that support foster parents. Follow other foster parents that are doing different things. And so now, based on who you follow, that also affects your content as well. So if you want to see more content related to being a foster parent, then you follow more people and organizations that are related to that. I often tell this story about when I started my fitness journey and I didn't know a lot of things. And I was interested in how people did this for the long term. How do you integrate a healthy living, healthy lifestyle for the long term? And so I didn't spend a lot of time on social media because I too felt it was negative. This is back in the early 2000s. But I changed who I followed. And I started following people that were into healthy living, trainers, um, people with healthy recipes and different things like that. And all of a sudden, my content changed and my content became more relevant to me because I was more interested in those things. So that's another thing. You might need to go through all the people that you're following, scrub it really well, and then just say from this point on, I'm going to follow people that own a business like me. I'm going to follow people that are in nursing school like me. I'm going to follow people that run track like I do, or that's interested in football like I am. You can really change the content that's coming to you through the algorithm by who you follow and the organizations and the pages that you follow. So keep that in mind as well. You really do have the power to create a positive digital experience for yourself. And I hope that these have been some good ideas that you can use to do exactly that. The digital space is a very powerful space if you can leverage it for the purpose that you need to. And it can really enhance what you're doing. So don't be discouraged because you may not be getting as much out of it as you could. But hopefully, this episode today has given you some ideas on how you can revamp your experience in the digital platforms to be more purposeful and to help you achieve the goals that you have in front of you. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Convos with Anita Santiago podcast. I appreciate every single listener, fan, and supporter that comes back time after time to check out the episodes. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much. I encourage you to take today's episode and the tips. If you find them helpful, use them and let me know how that worked for you. Let me know if you were able to change your digital experience. I would love to hear about that. You can email me at convoscws@gmail.com. And hopefully my voice will be better by the time the next episode is recorded. So thanks so much for tuning in and happy listening.